It was called the Little Mountain Sound, and he was the last student of it. Which that is guys like like Bob Rock, and of course Mike Fraser, who engineered the record, uh, and then Brian's guy Carl DeCare, he's his engineer as well. It's this. It's not looking back. Like we weren't looking. This is a record where we really didn't look back.
Hey, thanks for hitting play. This is the Zen Podcast, your new home for music and more. We look forward to bringing you amazing interviews, reviews and news about all the artists you love and maybe some you are yet to discover. So kick back, enjoy the ride and welcome to the show. Hey Joel, how you going, man?
G'day, how you doing?
Oh, I cannot complain. How's life for you?
Oh, mate, it's great. Every day's a new day. Every day's, you see what happens, and you just, if winter in Australia, if the sun's shining, it's even better. But if you got winter, I don't know, you get to love the rain. You just, it's a good day to be alive. I like your attitude.
Better than the alternative.
Absolutely, mate. Better than being underground.
Exactly. And yes, it is wintry and very cold in Brisbane. It's ridiculous.
Oh, mate, I do love Brizzy though. I love a 4X. I went to the 4X brewery with my cousin Danny recently, and we had a few tasters in there. It was pretty bloody good off tap. That maroon one that you got, the heavier maroon one, we don't get that in Victoria. I didn't even know about it. And coming off tap at the brewery, I mean, I'm a strong, staunch CUB, Carlton Draft, VB diehard, Melbourne Bitter, Crown Lager guy. But, I tell you, there's something about that maroon 4X that you got that, I don't know, I'm missing that down here in Victoria. So even on a rainy day, you got one of the best beers in the world, mate, so not too bad.
I think you need to have that on your rider for the gun show, mate.
I think we should. We've got to get the long necks that you make, a little 3-pack of long necks.
There you go. That just hit up the promoter, and you're an easy guy to please. Just make sure they're there.
I will, mate. Oh, that's a bloody good idea. We'll get on that.
So, congrats on the self-titled album. We're lucky enough to get a sneak peek. I got to say, the one thing besides the songs that stand out, the production is just over the top on this one. Well done.
Oh, thanks, mate. It was a good, long time doing it. But Brian Howe's the producer, who we've worked with before. He is he comes from the school of, it's a Canadian thing. So it was called the Little Mountain Sound, and he was the last student of it. Which that is guys like like Bob Rock, and of course Mike Fraser, who engineered the record, and then Brian's guy Carl DeCare, he's his engineer as well. It's this. It's not looking back. Like we weren't looking. This is a record where we really didn't look back. We weren't trying to recreate the sounds of the past or anything like that. Where we kind of done that before. Where in this one we went, look, here's what we love about the past. We love the big bombastic thing in the past, but we've got to go ahead from before. We've got to go ahead into a place that we've never been, and just take it to somewhere that is a bit more explosive, and just sort of what we were wanting it to be. We didn't want to think it. We wanted to find it. So that was the other thing, is it was just a lot more experimentation with things, and just, of course, and then bringing it to a guy like Zach Savini to mix it. He brought a whole other thing. It was a bit like the Tesseract in Estella. It was kind of like that. That was one of the thinkings behind it was that, like, we're in the third dimension. Why aren't we thinking about the fourth? What's it like to get to the fourth? And so there's just, I don't know, it's a bit whack. But we just said, look, rock and roll doesn't have to just be stereo anymore. It can be a bit bigger. It can be a whole other universe. So let's not just do 2 guitars, drums, and sing a song. Let's see if we can create a whole rock and roll universe in an album. Because all of our favorite albums were that. like I call it the Back in Black album. When I put Back in Black on, there's a feeling that I get from that record. I imagine things in my mind. I go to a Back in Black universe. It's a different AC/DC to AC/DC on Highway to Hell and that's a whole other universe in itself. But I just love that the way great producers like Mutt Lang made, took you to a place that was exclusively there. So it took you out of where it was that you were. And for me, I attach that to those records. And, we just sort of said, like, let's make one of them or just at least try and make our own universe of that. And that's why it is, I guess, that's why we self-titled it, because it really is our first real attempt at that. I mean, we tried to in the past, but I think we achieved it more than ever. But it was the team of people that we had involved. It was a massive team involved in this record to do it. So, but on that, sorry to be a very long-answered way of explaining it, but that is how the production got to be where it is today.
No, I love the long-winded. I don't call it long-winded. I call it informative. Let's make it informative. Let's be really intelligent about it.
Thank you, mate.
We'll call it informative. But like you said, there's not a straight ahead sound and mix to this album. You do hear, like, I listen to it with headphones on. So for me, I could hear a lot of little nuances. Like, I really like when I hear something as simple as the hi-hat be more pronounced on a count. Yep. I don't like hearing it buried. And I like hearing a kick drum sound like a Mutt Lang kick drum. And there's a big kick on this album, which was really great. And like you said, like, you got Zach Savini, who worked on literally the latest Evanescence album that came out today, and he's done stuff with Youngblood. So, like, he's no slouch. And you mix that with the production and engineering team, you've literally reinvented a rock sound for 2026.
Well, mate, thank you very much. And you've nailed it. Because to rewind a little bit and to dig deeper into the production, when we were talking about it, I mean, the record before this one is definitely a different sound, and it's a different whole different thing in itself. Was that when we got to this one, we said, look, every time we go to mix a record, we say, let's just keep it on the knee, keep it really simple. Let's just keep it raw, keep it this, keep it that. And we just said, look, why are we fighting a sonic war with bows and arrows still? Why are we still thinking about the 70s and stuff like that? And we've done it every album. We've always gone back to some thing of the past, which is like fighting a war with bows and arrows with a sonic, where who you're up against has nuclear weapons. Yeah. So we just said, you know what? Let's get some nuclear weapons now. Like, we've recorded the record the most organic way in a jungle in Byron Bay, Australia. Not even Byron Bay, but retracted back into a jungle surrounded by king brown snakes and fucking we found funnel web spiders up there that aren't even supposed to be there, but they're these really large ones. But anyway, so we were with a tape machine in a jungle that kept breaking on the Albert Studio One Neve that Music Farm had bought from Albert's when they had sold the studio. Malcolm Young's own personal Neve was also there from his home studio. So we've got all the organic gear. We recorded it the organic way, the band playing live, the band going through vintage Neve stuff, the same desk that recorded AC/DC, The Angels, The Easy Beats, and Rose Tattoo. All of that. So we've made sure that we've captured it the right way, because in this world, we don't capture things the right way anymore. That's where it always gets put to CGI, or it doesn't. Christopher Nolan does not do that. He shoots on film. He does it that way, but then he applies the nuclear weapons side of the thing, and that's the Zach Savini thing. Let's bring in the nuclear weapons, the heavy artillery, and say, hey, Zach, here is you don't normally get, I don't know, does he normally get organic mixed records in the middle of jungles surrounded by the world's most deadliest animals by an Aussie rock and roll band? Probably not every day. So we got to give him something different, and he fucking sunk his teeth into it and said, let me do my Zach Savini nuclear weapon thing. And then boom, and it was something that we never would have done in the past. And but it was also perfect timing as well, I guess, with a lot of things, um, for us to do it this way. And Brian Howes, back to him being the producer, fully supportive of the whole thing, and always suggesting ideas and things like that from the Little Mountain School of Rock.
Now, just for our US friends, the spiders that Joel are talking about, I have no doubt Joel did in fact saddle one and ride it around the studio. They're not small.
Yeah, they're not small. They're not small. I mean, they've got 8 legs, lots of eyes, and you can't get away from them. Doesn't matter where you go, they'll find you.
Now, was there a conscious effort to put a sign up in the studio that said no ballads allowed?
Look, I think that's just kind of just, I don't know, it's just what we do every time. We've tried to write a ballad in the past, not that we have, but if, I don't know, whenever a slower song sort of ends out that way, it just never happens. We always end up rocking it up. It just never happens with us. It's like if you go to the, if you go to a nice restaurant and you're like, oh, I'll have the whatever, you always end up coming back to the Palmer. So
Yeah.
it's
I
just what we do.
actually I think that if you guys really tried hard to write a love song because you are the king of the double entendre, it'd end up being a Steel Panther song.
Yeah, we'd probably go that way, mate. It's I don't know if it's in our DNA to do that. We just want to rock. And every time that kind of stuff, I go to, if it just sends me to the bar to go get a beer if a band plays a song like that live. I don't know. I just want to rock the whole time. So
Well, there is one song that for me takes a bit of a left turn, which is Pagoda. While it's rocky, there's a groove to it. So when I heard the riff, I was like, oh, look, that riff did a lot for me. It's very Zeppelin-y, but a modern Zeppelin. To me, I
you
get
mean bow guitar?
yeah, a bit of an 80s Kiss sound to it.
Yep.
You know,
Yeah.
I really love the groove in that one. Tell me how that one came to be.
So bow guitar or bow guitar or I don't know. I mean, I don't really know how to pronounce it, but I think they say bow but we were calling it bow guitar, and it kind of sounds like guitar or
Yeah,
something, and a thing. And we had in the studio, we had there was a good mate of ours, Steve Gray, sent us down an Eddie Van Halen Frankie guitar. I never played one of these things before. So there, one night there was a massive storm, and we were holed up at the house where we were all staying in. Couldn't get to the studio because there was a massive flood and the power had gone out, and we were just sitting there with candles, and had a little mini guitar amp that was battery powered, so I was just rocking out on that thing. We had a few beers and stuff, and I hadn't played a guitar with a whammy bar since I was a kid. So and I was like, oh, it was rocking out on this thing. And that's kind of that's where the riff came from, was that storm, that night, that particular event. And so I was like, and then we just started thinking about when we were toured through Colombia. When we were playing in Bogota, um, we were writing the song with Brian Howes. And it was just like, it all just came together and it just happened like that. It was just, myself, Ryan, and Brian were just writing the song, the lyrics, and it all just happened like that. We jammed, but before that, had a bit of the riff cooking, and then Ryan jumped on the drums and we jammed it for a bit. I think Sreedy jumped on the bass, and then Brett jumped on the guitar, and then boof, that was the music, and then we got to the lyrics with Brian, and then it was just like that was it. Really, we did a lot. A lot of the songs kind of happen like that, where you just kind of just get on a roller coaster, but it doesn't really have tracks, if you know what I mean, already laid out. They're kind of like new
yep.
tracks. And you just go with wherever it goes, hit record, and you end up there. And so that's kind of how that one happened. But it's just a good time, fun song. And that's why, in the breakdown, kind of like, coming in swinging in over the Andes. There's a
Yep.
whole section where it gets a bit David Lee Roth. So we just went with it. It was fun. I mean, we're on a Eddie Van Halen guitar, so it's natural that that we just had a little bit of rothness to it as well. So it was good.
Gotcha. Now, we're going to run out of time in a minute. So I've got one last question, which
Yep.
is almost 25 years as a band. And by the way, everyone, get to Guns N' Roses early to see this band that's almost 25 years in. But was there ever a time that the music industry almost broke Airbourne?
Oh, so our band started during the financial crisis. Well, we started just before it, but we were in America when it hit. We just released our first record when it hit. We were in so much debt with Capitol Records, it wasn't even funny. It would have been over $1 million US at the time with everything that was spent on the record and everything else. Because that was when record labels just did not give a shit and spent so much money on things. And then but you had to recoup it. And bang, financial crisis. There's rock and roll's completely not on the radio. And we got a massive fucking bill to pay. A Capitol Records falls over. We get dropped. And we're on the road in a van and all this is going on. And we're in the middle of America going, well, fuck, we've got no way to get home. Like, we might as well just keep rocking. So we just did and ended up at South by Southwest. And then Wolf, Roadrunner Records, great rock and roll record label, took us on, said, you know what, we'll acquire some of this debt, but not all of it. You're going to have to work for it. So, clean the dishes.
Yeah.
So we just toured and just kept going and through the worst time in ever in the history of rock and roll when it was completely not on the radio at all. And look, when you say break us, I can't accept that anything would ever break us, but I'll rephrase it to that was the most challenging time and it happened right at the beginning. But it was just, again, back to just wanting to rock. And we would play shows to nobody. But the people that did come just couldn't believe it. They were like, how the fuck have I not heard of this band? Just guys, you just don't stop rocking and this is the best thing ever. And that little bits of inspiration just from those small crowds has grown and grown and grown and grown all across, the rest of the world, except for Australia. So it's good to come back. But we have heard more love in Australia than we ever had this record. So that's been something else. We're very excited to get back out and play in Australia because we are feeling the love out there. And it's just going to be so good for us to come home and actually play to good Aussie rock and roll audiences. And thank you to Guns N' Roses for bringing them all into the room for us. So it'll be a lot of fun.
Perfect. So the album's out August 28th, so everyone will get used to it before that time. We will see you at Suncorp Stadium, mate. So enjoy your weekend, and I'll see you in December.
See you at Suncorp Stadium with a river of 4X.
Thanks for joining us on this episode of the Zen Podcast. Make sure you don't miss an episode. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit that notification bell so you never miss a thing. Listen to us on the go. Find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and all your favourite podcast platforms. And get social. Follow the journey by searching Zen on all social media. Another way to support the show is to leave a rating or review. It helps other fans find out about us. Thanks for tuning in and see you next time.